Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to Guided Abroad. Coming home after a spiritual journey can be just as challenging as the journey itself. Integration isn't just about weaving the lesson into your inner world, it's about re entering the old world with a changed self. In this episode, I share what happened when I returned to the U.S. after a spirit led journey to Morocco and Italy, why I broke a promise I made to myself, and how to know the difference between dissonance and resistance. If you've ever felt unsettled after a big life experience, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
One of the most powerful and often overlooked parts of a spiritual journey, whether it's a retreat, a private practice, or a life change like the one I'm going through, is integration. If you're coming back home, reintegration is often the challenge. So you're integrating the experience that you had into your inner world, but you're reintegrating into the life that you lived before you left. The minute that I arrived in the US, I could feel this underlying irritation that was so familiar because as I look back, I've experienced it my entire life. Many of the things that I was feeling could have been interpreted as resistance, but in reality, what I was experiencing was energetic dissonance.
It is 9:30 in the morning on my first day back in the United States. Well, since I landed, I've been paying a lot of attention to how I feel here energetically and comparing that to how I felt in Italy. What I'm noticing here is that even if I remove things that could be making it different from how I felt in Italy that are not about just pure location. So if I imagine that I'm here as I am, but I don't know anybody that would have expectations for my behavior, or where I be, how I be, how does it feel? When I do that, there's still an underlying irritation. And this applies if I think about California, Texas, Ohio, I think about here, it's kind of across the states. I called it irritation, and that's not really it. It's more of a disharmony. That means I can never settle in and can't expand to my fullness. This morning I was admiring my little home. It's so cute. And it's so set up specifically for me. It's an expression of me. And yet I also hate it. And wish I hadn't had to be there. I have a real repulsion to it at the same time. That to me speaks to this way that I've crafted a life here that on the surface looks ideal for me. I have everything that I need, I really want for nothing, and yet underneath it, there's a disharmony. It doesn't work. It's built on dysfunction, internal dysfunctions. So it looks like having a candy house. It looks like a house, but it isn't healthy for you.
There was a different sense to the energy for me there than there is here. And it harkened back to what we saw in the locational astrology predictions, that I would have a different experience, a different resonance in that area than I'm going to find here in the United States. So these first couple days, I was really contemplating about how real is this? In addition to the contemplation, I wasn't eating and I wasn't sleeping. I had this constant pulling in my mind and my heart to these images that we saw first in Bari of me sitting at the feet of the saints and having some type of teacher, embodied or unembodied is unclear, but some type of teacher that comes forward and guides me.
What happened next surprised even me. Remember that promise I made to myself on the way home in the last episode? I made a vow to myself that
upon returning, I would allow at least a week to experience re-entry, to be present without moving into action. After 2 nights, I can't resist it anymore. And I book a one-way ticket back to Italy. Now, I'm recognizing this is a violation of the vow that I would not make any decisions for a week. But at this point, I'm not eating very well. I'm not sleeping hardly at all. And there's just this inner push. So this is one of those cases where your discernment becomes very important, because there is that difference between resistance, I don't want to be here, I wish my life was different, and a dissonance that is pushing you somewhere, that's saying, this is not right for me right now, and this other thing is pulling me towards it that is right, even if I don't understand it or I don't really know what it means. And when you have that combination all happening at once, I'm telling you, you've got to follow it. You've got to do it. You will always regret for the rest of your life if you don't. So I booked the ticket. I did get it a refundable ticket just in case I have second thoughts. I wanted to make sure that I was being practical, and I've booked it for 90 days out. So I have 90 days to go from this moment's decision to executing whatever's next. The minute that I do that booking, my entire body relaxes. And guess what? I fall right to sleep. I'm asleep in 10 minutes after I finished that booking. It was amazing. I slept an entire night. I woke up with an appetite. My whole being relaxed back into the present moment. It's like I couldn't arrive here fully until I had made the commitment to return to where I was supposed to be. The news came as quite a shock to people as I was telling them that I'm going back, before I've even told them how the trip was, and that, that going back is indefinite, that it's long-term. Although, if you have been listening all along on this journey, you know that the predictions from, 18 months ago were that I would leave in August 2025 for 15 years to live abroad. So we'll see if that's what happens. I have no idea if that's what will happen, but my flight is on August 31st. So that part did turn out to align. It was interesting because there were much lower prices on that date than the dates around it. And that's the last day of my rental agreement here in the United States. So it just made sense to take that date. I wasn't trying to land in August. Of course, big personal changes don't just affect us. They ripple out into our relationships. As I tell people about not only the journey, but now my decision, what's coming forward for them can be a lot of triggering. It can trigger a lot of things in other people when they see you stepping out into something radically different than they've thought you would ever do, or that they have ever considered doing for themselves. When you change, it challenges them to look at the choices that they've made, to think about the things they didn't do that they wanted to do, to question sometimes, do I even understand you, Sarah, my friend? I thought you were this person and now you're doing this, and now I'm a little confused about how our relationship fits together. So it's been a real opportunity just in these first few days even to see what the next couple of weeks hold as I have these conversations, as I change and communicate what's changing in me to others, and see how that changes our dynamics. If you embark on a change like this in your life, I'm sure you'll be surprised by some of the reactions and responses. So this week, I want you to be thinking about the difference between your personal inner resistance to what's happening to you and what you're experiencing in comparison to dissonance, energetic dissonance. Sometimes we only focus on resistance because people need to be reminded that resisting is not beneficial for them. And it's our default paradigm. Our ego, our unconscious mind, wants us to stay safe, and we stay safe when we keep doing things we've survived before. And so it creates resistance when it doesn't want us to go into a space that feels unsafe or has felt unsafe in the past. That's resistance. And we need to choose to be with it, to feel it, and to move through it by feeling it. You don't drive through it. You allow and accept. Dissonance, energetic dissonance, on the other hand, is a message to you about whether this is the right place for you at this time. Is this the right conversation to be having? Is this the right place to be? Are these the right people for who I am at this stage in life and who I'm trying to become? And it is good for us to listen to that and to take that signal as a signpost, particularly when something else is pulling us, drawing us forward into a different direction. So take a look, be aware this week as you move through your life, through the world. Keep an eye out for these differences and just let them sink in for you.
You've been listening to Guided Abroad with me, Sarah Cook. Re-entry isn't just about place. It's about identity, relationships, and listening closely enough to know when something isn't yours to carry anymore. This week, notice when you're feeling resistance and where you might be experiencing dissonance. One is the ego trying to keep you safe, while the other may be your soul calling you to somewhere new. If this resonated, subscribe and share with someone navigating change. It may help them find the words for what they're feeling. Until next time, keep going within to lead beyond.